Hello, dear viewer. Thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Felix Léger, and today I want to talk to you about the Canadian Workplace Culture Index. I was reading a book called Culture Organisationnelle, and I found out about this. I first I heard of this, so I'm curious to know how many of you watching have heard of this before. I've looked at this report and I found the results interesting, so just going to pass the slides in front of you. I don't have everything to say about all slides. I'll just flash the results, and I'm curious to see what kind of discussion this can spark within ourselves. Like, do we think we fall into such and such category? It's interesting to think about how do we feel about these results. So, without further ado, let's scroll through this. So, as you can see in the overview, they talk a little bit about what the culture index is. It's worked with university. I don't know if they mentioned this here, the Angus Wright, but also the University of British Columbia. They have 95% confidence in their results. It was done over 1,000 employed Canadians over the entirety of Canada. Here's their research methodology. You can pause here if you're interested about this. And key insights. The first big insight is that 70% of Canadians say they'd leave their current job for the same position at another organization for a 10% raise. To me, that is crazy to think for a lot of reasons. I don't know what it says about our status of financial um, health, like how money tight we are as Canadians, as workers. But I thought that was crazy. If you go to any company, on average, 60% of people will leave their job for just a 10% raise. So that means I don't know what this says about their love for who they work for, but the sense of loyalty is clearly very low. Another one that I found quite troubling is that more than 30% of Canadians believe that people get away with bullying at their organizations. So I think that's like boggling my mind. This quote is really making me pause. I don't know how you feel about that. Bullying is obviously not okay, not something any company should tolerate. So the fact that 30% of all the Canadians think people get away with actual bullying is like scary. So curious to know what you think of that. Um, what else? Uh, let's see. I just realized I had highlighted stuff in this presentation and I lost all of my notes. So, okay, I might have to look for visual cues. So, bear with me here. Another one, some employees don't see management making an effort. More than 36% of Canadians agree that senior managers don't make an effort to listen, to check, and to listen to and check in with and connect with employees. So basically, 36% of Canadians, so more than a third, agree that senior managers don't make an effort to connect with them, to build a relationship with them, to act like we're all equal humans. Uh, so, I mean, I could see some companies having that when you're a super big company like Microsoft. Of course, you're not going to feel like Bill Gates comes in to listen, but maybe you do. Some companies, it might be surprising. But still, I think that's a sad quote since the majority of companies in Canada are small, medium enterprises. There should be a way for senior managers to make an effort and check in and connect with their employees just due to proximity. So I think that's an interesting statistic. I'm curious to know what you think about that yourself. So let's go further. Oops. Let's go further. COVID insights. Unfortunately, racial inequalities remain an issue as part of COVID. Um, I can't say much about that. I haven't read into this, but I think this is unfortunate, of course. Young Canadians impacted most heavily. Um, that sucks. I don't know what else to say. These stats are pretty depressing. They to me they show a feeling of things are tough. Things are tough. Um, Oh, this one was interesting. I'm working from home due to COVID when I was previously in an office. So I think this is interesting to notice a big difference in Ontario and Quebec. In Ontario, 3 people out of 5 will be working from home due to COVID when they were previously in an office. And in Quebec, it's over 4 out of 5. So I don't know how this stat works, but it's like 4 out of 5 instead of 3 out of 5. That's interesting. So more people in Quebec work from home when they were previously working in an office. Honestly, though, I feel like our situation at Portage Notarius, the office is often bustling with activity, at least on Mondays and Tuesdays. The other days, not so, to be honest. But I think that we are above average in Quebec. I think we have a company that really likes itself. I've heard things of other companies, and apparently some are really ghost towns. So I think this is interesting. I am working from home due to COVID when I was previously in an office. Um, More women, significantly more women than men, say yes to that. Some comparisons between men and women. Now, these are really going into details. I won't make sense of those. And unfortunately, I lost my highlighting, so I'd have to read this all again. Uh, but oh yeah, I think it was summarized down there. Women are more connected to people and are more connected to people in culture, complain less, and feel recognized more. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah, that was interesting because I live with a partner who talks a lot about men and women inequality, and so I tend to agree that yes, in general, systematically, women get less advantages than men, and women of color compared to white men. So, I have all these things in the back of my mind. And I thought it was interesting to hear that women complain less and feel recognized more. So I was wondering what this means about how social movements have changed. I was curious to know what the women at the company are thinking about that stat. I think that's really interesting. Now we have the comparisons between provinces. uh, I think Quebec is hurting the most right now. That's the vibe I got out of this. Let's see if I read that right. Canadians least happy with their company fit in Quebec was 80%. I think that's interesting. So the majority, well, 80%. Let's see. Oh, okay. 80% of people in Quebec are happy with their company fit. So that sounds good. But in BC, it's 92%, which is sig. Yeah, well, I don't know. It's hard for me to interpret these results. Let me know what you think. Here are stats for people who say I like to work. Seems high. I like the people I work with. I like to see that. That's awesome. Humans are awesome. Company is a good fit for me. Yeah. Uh, my I would recommend my employer to a friend. Oh, Quebec, we're hurting a little bit here. My company recognizes my success, hard work. Yikes, Quebec still. It's hard to live in Quebec. It's hard to work in Quebec. All employees' needs are cared for at by my company, not just some employees' needs. Still Quebec, down and under. I would leave my job for the same one at another company for a 10% raise. So, funnily enough, Quebec is the highest one. So, to me, that says Quebec is the most money tight out of all the provinces here. Age comparisons. Oh, yeah, these graphs have funny shapes. Let's see. People get away with bullying at my organization. So apparently, there's a sweet spot of people who think more people get away with bullying, and for some reason, at the tails, it lowers. I wonder what causes that. And we have a mirror here. All employees' needs are cared for at my company, not just some employees' needs. So once again, the people from 35 to 34 are hurting the most here. They notice the most unpunished bullying, and they feel the least cared for by their company. So, and despite making probably more money than the 18 to 24 years old. So, I don't know how to interpret this, but I find these shapes really interesting. Here we have a nice, clean diagonal. I often make complaints to my friends and family about the place where I work. So the younger people complain way more than the older ones. Cool. I, uh, I don't know what to say of that, but that's really interesting. Senior managers make an effort to listen to, check in with, and connect with employees. Uh, so let's see. Still, the 35 to 34 feel less heard of all people significantly here. I would leave my job for the same one at another company for a 10% raise. Here, the younger ones are at the top. I believe this is because they're hurting for money and they just want money. And I think this will always be the case. So it's nice to see, well, at least this fits my mental model. Key insight per sector. Okay, now here we're going to compare questions per sector. I believe we're in the technology and telecoms. I Yeah, I don't think we're in services. I'd have to know for sure. But would you leave your job for a 10% raise? It's the food and beverage that's hurting. Here, it's I don't know, middle of the pack. I often make complaints to my friends and family about the place where I work. So it seems technology is doing pretty good here. Well, much better than food and beverage. Food and beverage is like baristas, not the people who design the food, right? I'm not sure. Senior managers make an effort to listen to, check in with, and connect with employees. So, man, food and beverage is the Quebec of the of the sectors. Food and beverage is not doing a good job there, poor guy, uh, or girl. I don't know. So yeah, still technology income middle of the pack, I guess. I wish we were a little bit more like real estate, but company has established traditions, programs, or events that contribute to a strong culture. Mm. Hey, we're doing good here. Sorry. We're doing good. Technology and telecoms. Nice. My company recognizes my successes and hard work. Uh, Services feels good here. We'll get there. People get away with bullying. Here, we're doing the best. Nice. That's good. Food and beverage. But that's still too much. That's still too much. Men and women are treated equally at my company. Hey, good job, technology. Yay. Let's keep pushing. Thank you to our strategic sponsors. Yeah, thank you. That was pretty amazing. And the Canadian Culture Inplex contacts. So I've made an inquiry to with them to know more about how the index works. So I'll leave you stay tuned for more information about that. But hey, I can't believe you watched now 12 minutes and 50 seconds of this. So I'll end right here. Thank you for watching. That was pretty fun. And see you for another one of these capsules someday. Bye bye.